you are not creating just a plain Java project. You are dynamic web project you are creating. So you have to create something very similar to that, and you have to create the same in JSP also, because this is also a web programming. Now, when you will have directories like src, web content, web inf, lib, all these directories will be there. Now, the JSP files, okay, I will compare the servlet and JSP. So you have three files, right, in servlet. One is HTML file, the web.xml file, and the Java file, right? The HTML file will have the UI, which is placed in web content directory. Web.xml will be the controller, which says if this is the URL which servlet class should be executed. That should be placed in web.inf directory. If you look at the src, that is Java file, that is like, if you derive a class from HTTP servlet, you have do, get, do, post, all those methods are there, right? So you can get it, like you have to put it in src directly, those Java files. Now all the files are combined into one file as JSP file. The HTML, web.xml, all those things are combined into one class, one file, that is .jsp file. That JSP file has to be placed under web content directory, right? So what you have to do is, after writing your JSP file, click on the JSP file, right click on it, you select as run as, okay, then specify run on server. What exactly it does, whichever the server is attached with the Eclipse, either Tomcat or Glassfish or WebLogic or WebSphere, anything, it runs on it, right? Okay. And one more thing is, okay, I'll show you. Okay, what you have is in Eclipse, you go to Windows. Actually, you have an option of choosing where your web output should be displayed, right? You can select internal browser, you can select the external browsers like IE, Safari, Opera, everything. But only for that you have to configure. Make sure that you are in Java EE perspective, right? Okay, I want to ask you one more question, fundamental question, that is, everybody installs the Java, Eclipse in J2EE mode, right? I'm sure it is yes for everyone. Okay. Wow. Okay. Otherwise, your servlets, you are like, many web programming doesn't work. Okay. So how exactly you have to do is, like, so many JSPs are there. Before that, like, go to Windows. Okay, web browser, right? I can select which are the options I want, right? If I want to, let's say I have one file, okay, this JSP is there, okay, I want to run this. Which browser I have selected? Windows, web browser, Google Chrome, right? So when I say run as, run on server, so it opened Chrome for me and it will show, hey, Apache Tomcat is working. Now Tomcat is loading into the memory. Then your JSP file gets deployed on the web server. See here, it's loading over here. Okay, now let's look at, I can modify the browser to internal browser. That is, it will not launch any external browser, right? Okay, now let me stop Apache Tomcat. Now I'll run it. The Tomcat is being loaded. There should be an internal browser in Eclipse itself. See here, It's loading. It is not opening any web browser outside, right? Okay, why exactly use internal browsers? When you are developing the code, right? You will not every time switching over to another browser, right? It is very time consuming and you have to say alt tab, control tab and all. So to avoid seeing your code in two places, you use the internal browser. Okay, now let's move on. That's what it is. Okay, how will you add a new browser? You say like Windows preferences. Go to this. Go to General. Okay, web browser. Okay, and click on New and specify the name of the browser, location where the exe file for Windows, like for that browser is stored, and click on OK. Right. So I repeat, go to Windows, go to Preferences, go to General, the first option itself, then go to Web Browser, then click on Add. You can add the browsers like IE, Safari, everything. Okay, please try adding couple of browsers. Right? If you want to know where exactly the browser is stored, like you can type like Chrome. Okay, and select that, right click on it, look at the properties, it will show you where exactly the chrome.exe is stored, right? So like that, like you can just copy and paste the whole entire stuff into the Eclipse, right? Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so we have three kind of tags in JSP, that is like Scriptlet to write the Java code, the declarative to declare the attributes and methods, and expression, it is like out.println, right? We have system.out.println. In JSP we have out.println. Okay, the same thing as out.println in the servlets, right? Let me show you the scriptlet code. Before we go on with how to write a scriptlet, okay, or a declarative tag or the expression tag, first let me show you how do you add a JSP file. After creating the project, select web content directory, right click on it, okay, then new, the way you have created a class file, okay, then you create a JSP file here, okay, test 4 something I just entered. By default this portion is created. You see the HTML file, okay, body /HTML. So as I said, the JSP is the combination of HTML and Java code. Now H1, okay, how many of you have worked on HTML? How many know HTML? Okay, no problem. So maybe sometime in the next month, right? So I may be taking HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and AngularJS as one module in web technology development, UI development from Edureka. If you want, you can contact them, right? Complete UI module, HTML, HTML5, CSS, CSS3, right? And actually HTML has got 132 tags and CSS has got around 35 tags. JavaScript and jQuery and AngularJS. Okay, coming back here, hello from JSP to all the learners. H1 is the header 1 tag. Okay, now let me run this. Select this, okay, run on server. See here, it has come. Hello from JSP to all the learners. Right? So in the JSP file, I have written. Now let me show you the dynamic compilation. Okay. Hello from JSP. Okay. I will just modify this. Have a good day. So I'll save this, and I'm not compiling, I'm not doing anything, and just let me refresh. That's it. The browser you're refreshing. I'll change it to I'll change the browser to Google Chrome. Okay, I'll run this. In the Chrome, if you look at the in the Chrome, it is getting displayed. Okay. I'll say JSP is very easy to learn. Okay, I'm saving it. Just refresh the browser. That's it. This is called dynamic compilation. Right? So you don't need to bring down the server, you don't need to compile the JSP code, right? Nothing. So the moment you modify the JSP file, save it, right? Just go ahead and refresh the browser. What happens at runtime? The JSP file is compiled and loaded into the memory and then executed. That is one of the advantage of JSP file. So with this, what happens is you will save lot of time, compilation time, right? Execution time, bringing down the server. So if it is single file, it is fine. If you have modified 100 files, then for every bug fixing, if you keep on bringing down, bringing up, so it'll take minutes, of 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time. Right? I used to do a project on a transportation, air travel ticketing, right? So the project is about 1,000 files were there. So if I have to compile itself, it will take half an hour for me. It used to be everything. Okay, so JSP, servlets, everything was there in it, only for compilation. So if I modify, so I have to compile for 30 minutes, I have to deploy and then execute, right? Okay, so now let's look at the scriptlet. How exactly you perform a scriptlet is less than symbol, percentage. So close the tag also with percentage and greater than symbol. So that is like a tag. Okay. In this you write your Java code. Okay. You say int a equal to 30, b equal to 40. Okay. And c equal to a plus b. Then you say out dot println the value of, okay, the result is, it's like you write your Java code, that's all. Okay, C. So what is that it generates? It should generate 70 for me. So it should display both. Have a good day, JSP is very easy to learn, right? So I'm just, okay, now go here. Okay. See here, the result is 70. This is using Java code, this is using HTML code. Okay, now rather than, this is scriptlets. See here, scriptlet tag is represented by this tag symbol. Java code should be written like this. I've written the same example, right? Here the Java code is embedded inside the scriptlet tag. When this code is executed, 50 will be displayed on the browser. 50 because 20 plus 30 is 50. Our example is 40 plus 30. It is 70. Now let's look at the declaration tag. Now what I will do is, as part of the declaration, okay, I should say exclamation. Okay, this is for declaration tag. I will say int x equal to 200. Then I can also write, okay, int square int a comma int b, return a plus square, right? So why should I require return a into a, right? For the scriptlet, you add one exclamation symbol that becomes your this one. As part of a scriptlet, okay, I will write that is out.println, okay, value of x is x and out.println square of 6 is, I will call SQR, and 6 I will pass it, right? So here I have declared an attribute and I have declared a method, right? And I'm imprinting the value of it in this one. Okay, now it should display 200. The have a good day JSP is very easy to learn. It should display 200 for me and 36. I'm just refreshing it. See here, 236. Okay, the difference between the Siddhartha is asking what is the difference between these two tags. The declaration tag is only for your declaring attributes and methods. It's used only for that, so that in the beginning of the JSP file you declare everything, right? In C programming, if you look at you declare everything in the beginning. Something very similar to that, you have a declaration tag where you declare in the beginning, and you can write the methods also. And you can use in the rest of the page, in any of the scriptlet, you can use those declared methods and attributes, right? That is the purpose of a declaration. Even in the scriptlet also, you can declare the attributes, okay? But it becomes only for that particular scriptlet. Okay, now let's look at, okay, see here the declaration tag. Okay, the flow of execution happens like this. When you run a JSP file, right? When you run a JSP file, it comes from the beginning. It doesn't go. It does not have anything like a main or anything. From the beginning, it will start executing one by one, one by one. See here, first it has see like HTML. What happens, right? It starts executing from the beginning. First, it displays this. Right, then it loads this into the memory. That is like you have the function, you have attribute, you have a function, everything loaded into the memory. Then what happens? Then it executes this from the beginning. From here it starts executing one by one all the statements till the end. It executes. Okay. See, it is flow of one by one sequence. From here, from the head HTML, it starts executing one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. Right? Now if you look at this, let's see this. See here, so this will be executed first and this will be executed next. Let's run this. See this. It's in the sequence of order in which you have given the code. That you can see what happens. It still should execute. See what happens, the declaration portion, see even though it is even though it executes in this sequence, but it also searches down also, right? This is the declaration tag, right? So if it is not available in the beginning, it checks the down also. There is a concept of prototyping in C language where you can define the functions either on top or you can define the functions after the main function also. Anjali, do you remember C language pretty long back, right? So that is called prototyping. Yeah. So this is also something very similar to that, but the order of execution is this from the beginning. Okay, so this is about the declaration tag, same thing, right? Declaration tag is used to define the attributes and methods in a JSP file. Declaration tag is represented by the scriptlet tag plus expression, and one exclamation symbol is added to the scriptlet tag, and the code will display 20 and 60 on the browser, the same example I have taken. Now, the next thing is the expression tag. What I can do is, so this I can knock off. Okay, I can specify percentage equal to, okay, it is equivalent to o.println. I will say X. It should print 200 for me. See here, it is equivalent to writing like this, o.print X and semicolon. Make sure that you don't put any semicolon here. This, what expression, value of the expression you want, it has to be specified. Okay, now let's look at the same thing. Expression tag is represented by this. The equality symbol is to be added to the scriptlet. Expression tag is used to display the values. It is same as out.println and semicolon, whatever the value you want to represent. Whatever you want to represent, it should be part of out.println. Okay, rather than writing out.println, it is easy. One more tag is created. Okay, so this is about expression tag.